What's up, Divine Reflections? You are tuning in live. Why? Because everything's happening right now. It's all in this moment. Time is the illusion. Today, I'm talking about attachments and how to let go of attachments and the subconscious attachments that you have that you haven't even realized, Like so many people are out there buying stuff and just spending money on things they don't really need to be spending it on, and then they're going around wondering why they aren't getting to the places they need to go, or investing those resources into getting them where they need to go. Like, I know people who are addicted to like buying shit, and if you look it up, it actually is a physical addiction. Like, they're the hormones that are being produced when some people shop, dopamine and endorphins that are being produced, those become addictive. That becomes an addictive response to that action. So people like want to go shopping. Like, I know people who are always trying to cop new shit and go and be at the mall and be buying stuff they don't even really need, but they just get a rush out of purchasing. This whole consumerism thing we've been conditioned into following, and it's really been in the mind of people, and it's really become a virus in these people who are out here just trying to spend mad money and every single penny they have on useless shit that they don't really need. Like, you can simplify your life so much, even living here in civilization. You can radically reduce the amount of things that you buy and you consume, and that's what I've been training myself with doing, like with the fasting, that really, I become a consumer of only like air and water, and sunlight. But that's like the minimalist approach that you could do. And just imagine if everybody took, a week or two out of the year to fast, how much of a strain that we would like, how much we would take that pressure away from the planet, that it's depleting the resources if people became more conscious and took some time to like not be such a drain on the planet. And there's so many other things that you could do. You don't even have to do the fasting, but just on a day-to-day basis you can begin to minimize your consumption. Why do you need to be buying plastic bottles? Like, everything, like we have a filter, and we filter all our own water, and then we share that with the people around us in the community, and we'll share water in glass jugs, that we just exchange, and we fill up the empty ones. But that's one thing. You don't have to be buying bottled water anymore. You don't have to waste that plastic. You don't have to waste that trip to the store anymore. You don't have to waste that resource, and plus probably going to be toxic water at that, and this filter, that we use is super high quality and super pristine. But just that's one thing, also with your food, you can go straight to the farmer's market and you can purchase like fresh local food that you can get your reusable bags and buy it, and now you're avoiding packaging, and all the boxing and that stuff comes in when you buy it at a store, and you're reducing that way too. But it's just these attachments that we have to it's like almost like an addiction that we have to buying these things in bags and boxes and bottles that we don't want to let go of. But like, you can do drastic things, and that's gonna make you change the way you think, and you're gonna look like, why was I doing that before? Why was I purchasing that? Why was I trying to cop the latest shoes? What was that really for? What was I really trying to fulfill within myself? Like, people out there buying the latest kicks, trying to get stay fresh on the latest kicks, dropping $90, but then they're questioning me about organic produce, like, and saying that that's just expensive, but you just drop, a couple bills on a fresh fit, like, I don't get that, and then like people always want to apply the level of thinking that they're coming from to your life. Like, they see that you're actually investing in tools that are helping people, and they'll be like, man, where'd you get that? Well, I just don't spend my money or my resources and my time on things that that I don't believe in. I'm not throwing money at those corporations. I'm not throwing money at those companies. I broke the attachments from that. I said, fuck that. I'm gonna live as best as I can here, and I'm gonna reduce my usage and my resource wasting, and that way I'm gonna direct that and funnel that into what I really want and what I believe in, which is helping people and planting little seeds in people so that they can grow and they can wake up and realize, the shitty situation that they're living in, and make them realize that there's other options, that this isn't the only one, that you've been living you've been so hyper focused on living this pre-programmed reality that's been set out in front of you, that you haven't even looked around you and scoped out alternate realities that you could also embody and that you could also live, and that are preferable to the planet's existence and the species that live on this planet. Like, we don't all have to be 9 to 5 Sue and Tai, career corporate motherfuckers. We don't have to do that shit. That's a lie. They sold you on that, and for so long you've been like hyper, like you've been even punishing yourself because you thought like that's what success is, but that's not true. That's an opinion. That's somebody's idea of success. It doesn't have to be yours. You can tune into your heart and you could feel what in your heart feels like success to you, and that doesn't have to include material shit. It doesn't have to be anything material, really. It could be happiness, health, having community, a tribe around you that is, being part of that living existence as a group of people, and just like surviving day by day and experiencing life. That could be it. That could be for you. That could be what is success. Not like stressing over a mortgage or stressing over a car payment, or making sure you're not driving on the wrong side of the road, or making sure you stop long enough at a stop so that you don't get a ticket. Like, that's not a universal idea of success. That's somebody's idea, a civilization's idea, and you can choose to like not be part of that. You can take yourself out of that situation, and while you're here you can also do things to get you to that level, and you can minimize the damage that you're doing to the place where you want to go ultimately. If you're trying to go back to nature, why are you over here spending money on kicks and trying to be fresh and do all this shit when you're really trying to go back there, and that's destroying that part that you're trying to return to, And it's just so much conditioning. Like, you can wear the same clothes over and over again. Like, that's perfectly fine. Like, just because somebody said, nah, you gotta have like a bunch of pairs of clothing, that doesn't mean that's the way it's supposed to be. That's just their perception. Yeah, they might judge you. Yeah, they might criticize you. Yeah, they might look at it negatively. Yeah, they might say you're bummy, but that's just their reality. In your reality, you have to tune into the fact that you're helping out the planet. You're being an immune cell to the planet by doing the things that you do and taking those actions, and that alone in itself has to enable you and give you the ability and empower you to make those choices and be that change, and be that person that's gonna spark that change, because a lot of people are worried about what people are saying, even unconsciously or subconsciously. They're like, trying to appease other people and like please other people, and in doing so they're just falling into the victim to the same system that's destroying the planet, and is being wasteful, and is doing all these harm and chaos, and not living in tune with nature. Like, while I'm here, I'm trying to do the best that I can, and I'm putting myself in a position to help people, and through that we can reallocate resources to get to where we're going, but in the process be helping people and not and minimizing my destruction and my chaos to the planet. But I can only do that by letting go of the attachments I have. So whenever I'm looking at allocating resources, or distributing resources, I'm looking at it is gonna help to where I get to where I want to go. Is it a tool that I can use to help people and get to where I want to go, or is it just some shit that I seen on TV that that brainwashed me into thinking that's dope, like buying some stupid little fidget spinner? Like, what kind of shit is that? Like, really, like, that's gonna help you get to where you want to go? Like, you are propagating a factory of somebody making that shit in China or something, and like depleting the planet of resources so you can like spin a fucking bearing on your hand because you can't even sit still because you've been so programmed to be like running around like crazy and shit that you can't even sit still in a moment of meditation. People can't. It's really hard for people. They haven't mastered that part of themselves. They have to be on their phone, they have to be on a computer, they have to be on social media, they have to be doing something. They can't just sit still with themselves, because when you do that, then you have to analyze yourself, and you have to, you have to perceive yourself and see the shit that you don't want to see. And that's what people don't want. They don't want to do that work. They want to hide and hide and hide and destroy themselves and shit, and just send this planet into oblivion just because they're too irresponsible, they're too unfocused, they're too undisciplined to do the work that it takes. But it's something that we must do if we want to continue our existence, and if we want to preserve this planet, and if we want to, ultimately live in harmony and, true joy and success. What law nature says is success, which is thriving of the planet and the living organisms within it, and the growth and expansion of the one consciousness, which people refer to as God, But you got to live in tune. You got to live in tune with nature. You got to follow its laws, and you got to obey. You got to humble yourself down to the laws, and ultimately it's humbling down to yourself, because you are nature. That's a part of you. It's a reflection of you. And when you humble down to that, which is nature and which is you, and you obey and you live by the laws, and that creates equilibrium. It creates, the perfect environment. It's not going against nature. Like, that's what this whole anti-nature, artificial way of thinking, the artificial mindset trying to transcend nature, saying that we're gonna, become better than nature, thinking that that's the way it's gonna go. But so far, it's disease, destruction, chaos, poisoning, toxicity. That's all it's created, And yeah, it's created some technology in some ways, but it's been at the expense of so many people suffering, just because you haven't seen it or you're not aware of it. But a lot of these attachments are really going back to people suffering, and people are being, like, you because you wanted your new iPhone, some kid in Nigeria, some 12-year-old kid was digging up lithium in a mine somewhere, working 14-hour shifts trying to pump out that lithium so that you can have your, technology. That's a reality, but now what I do is I use those as tools so that I can share these ideas with people and share these concepts and wake people up in that way. If I was just on my looking at dumbass videos on YouTube all day, then that wouldn't be right to me. I wouldn't feel comfortable that way, because deep down I would know that there's something I could be doing to help people and to bring order and harmony back into this planet, to live in true harmony, and be balanced out with the planet. But you got to let go of the attachments. You got to be willing to become that empty vessel, and like say you don't need anything. You are already whole as you are. You don't need to be these material things to be fulfilled, to feel like you're whole and complete, when you're already whole and complete in and of yourself, because you've been created by nature, and you've been designed in such a way that you're expressing that perfect harmony if you're embodying it. But most people are not. Most people are embodying the artificial. They're falling into that program, and they're just running with it, not even questioning it. And then we suffer because of that. There's consequences. There's for every action there's a reaction to that too. There's because people want this, some people over here have to do this. Or because people want this much abundance, some people over here have to have less. And that's not balanced. It is balanced in a way, because everything always balances out, but it creates inequality, and it just creates, on both ends of the spectrum, it creates chaos, because people in America die because of the extreme abundance that we have, the food that we have and all that. Like, because they have so much, they literally, some people eat themselves to death and get heart disease, get heart attack, whatever, because there was so much abundance. And then the contrary is also true, and in some other part of the world, because they're depleting all the resources from that area. Those people don't have anything to eat, and they're dying of hunger too. So it's like the both extremes ends of the spectrum are creating chaos for those people, And when you look into nature and you embrace nature, you live in harmony, and those things don't happen. It's people are actually in communion with themselves ultimately, which is nature, but they're connected. Like some people are awake and they're conscious and they've deprogrammed, but they haven't reconnected back to nature. They're still not embracing nature. They're still, on their smartphone, and they're still trying to preserve this society. So you have to be even willing to let go of the attachment that you have to civilization. If you really, really, really want to preserve the planet, you have to be willing to go to that length. People want to talk about spirituality, but they're scared of death, they're scared of this, they're scared of that, they're scared of letting go, and yet they consider themselves to be spiritual and say that we're all one and death is an illusion, but they're not really experiencing it and showing it in their life. They're all talk. They still have the attachments to their families, they still have the attachments to their cars, their clothes, their material possessions. They still haven't let go of that shit. They're just talking the talk. But I'm trying to walk the walk. That's the route I'm trying to take, and really be an example so that people can see how it is to really be about it and not just talk it. And that's gonna take letting go of a lot of shit. It's gonna take letting go of your mama's cooking that was so good, it tasted so bomb, and that you were raised on. It's gonna take saying, you know what, mom, I love you and everything, but I can't eat that no more. I don't want to eat that no more. I'm trying to live more consciously, and that might be hard for a lot of people because they want to please their parents, or they don't want to disappoint their mom. But ultimately, you got to do what's best, and you got to follow your own route. You can't live out of somebody else's perspective or their idea of how you should be living is. You got to be able to let go of your job. You got to be able to let go of the idea of success. By you perpetuating the idea by saying, oh, I graduated from this university, you're perpetuating that success, and you're perpetuating that same concept that's what success is. I'm not saying, if you want to go and get that education, that's cool and fine and dandy, but just understand that curriculum was set up a certain way, and that ultimately isn't all there is to life, that there's much more that you can explore, and that hasn't been in the books, and that hasn't been taught, and that isn't being taught, but that there's alternatives, and there's other way more vast information and work that you can do on yourself. Things that you can apply to your life day by day that nobody can take away from you, that no market crash can take away from you. Some people's success is circumstantial. They're one market crash away from being unsuccessful. Me, my success, nobody can take that away from me because it's work that I've done on myself. It's I don't need anything outside of me to sustain my success. It's eternal. It keeps growing. It keeps being nurtured by my day-to-day habits and lifestyles and things that I'm picking up and integrating into my life. But it's only through letting go of the attachments that I had that I was able to achieve anything, and that I am able to achieve anything. And if you're holding on to any attachments like that, people that you love, but you don't see that you're attached to them, and they're stopping you from growing. They're not letting you grow. Even a partner that you have, or boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, daughter, son, mother, father, all those, in society we've been taught to just listen, and that's what we got. We can't stray away. You can't disobey your parents or anything like that, but we're not. We're disobeying Mama Earth, the real mom, the mom of everything that's on this planet. That's who we're disobeying when we're embracing the ideals of society and civilization, which your parents and your family and everybody around you probably has adopted, and they're trying to make you fit into that, and they're seeing you as a rebel because you're trying to break free and obey Mama, the planet, and preserve that. And because you don't want to fit into the mold that they want to put you in. You don't want to get a career and have a job and do these things, and you don't have to. You shouldn't have to. It's not natural. That's what people need to realize. It's not natural for you to be working a 9 to 5 in a warehouse. I was working 14-hour shifts, night shifts at a warehouse, feeling completely depressed and what am I doing here? But nobody told me that there was another option, or that it was okay to not want that. everybody was like, oh, you got a job? Oh, it's good. Oh, it pays good. Oh, it's so good. I'm so happy for you. No, like they kept trying to feed this idea that that's what the route I was supposed to be taking. But deep down inside, I always felt like, nah, I'm not happy here. I'm not happy. Yes, I'm making money. Yes, but I'm not happy. And ultimately, like I gotta follow my heart and follow my intuition and be able to let go of those attachments, that job, those people, the relationships. And by being authentic with myself and expressing my true authenticity, I'm gonna attract the people that I do want to be around me, that are going to vibrate at the same level of thinking that I'm thinking, that are going to have the same caring spirit and love for the planet that I have. Those people who are real truth seekers, who are really about it and trying to integrate shit into their life and make it a daily practice. That's the people I'm going to attract, because the sooner you're authentic, the sooner you're going to attract those people. If you're not being authentic, you're going to attract the wrong people, the wrong energy, the wrong situations to your life. And then there's going to come a time when you're going to be like, oh, I want to express myself authentically now. But then it's going to be harder, because you're going to be surrounded by people and situations and energies that are going to be like, whoa, bro, that's, that's not cool. You're acting too differently, like we thought you were this, or just express yourself freely right now so that you attract the correct energies into your life, because for myself, for a minute, I realized that I've been acting too inauthentically. I've been trying to be a type of person that I thought was right, not what I felt was right, not what I felt I was, and express myself freely like that. It was like this idea, this concept that I had of this person who was ultra spiritual, and now I realize spirit, embodies itself and it carries itself however it wants to. It is not limited. Like we only limit, like say like cuss words, like, oh, this person's cussing and using foul language. That's your perception, that's your conditioning. Spirit doesn't care. It feels energy, it feels the love that I'm projecting now, and the love that I have for the planet and the movement I'm trying to get started in, the way I'm trying to help people. That's what spirit is feeling, that's what it's embodying. It's not looking for these little technicalities like, oh wait, he used that word, oh wait, he said it that way. Nah, it's looking for the true authenticity and looking for that true purity that's being expressed in many different ways. And whatever that is for you, go out there and do it, but don't limit yourself to somebody's idea of what spirituality is. And that's an attachment in itself. Spirituality, that's another attachment that people haven't even started to grasp, but because it's really relatively new, this new age spirituality. But for a lot of us, that's already limiting us. I already felt the limits of it, but now I'm like transcending it and trying to let go of that attachment of what I thought spirituality was, based off of the new age teachings or whatever I had learned, and trying to embody somebody else's idea of spirituality. But in the process, I was not being authentic with myself, and I didn't realize that you can express yourself wherever you came from, and however you talk to your friends, and however you want to, whenever you're feel the freest, express yourself that way, but tell the truth, be expressing the truth too, but let it flow out of you how anything flows out of you when you feel the freest. This is just the circumstances that you were brought up in, and you're going to talk to the people that are going to vibrate with that level, because they're coming from the same place, but they think that it's so far out of reach because they're listening to people somewhere in a cave being ultra spiritual and like just being perfect, or what they think is perfect, or purveying this image that you're like, damn, like I'm out here, and I'm in some place that's completely different, but I'm saying, like, you don't have to be there. You can be spiritual where you are spirit. You just have to embody it and let it be a conduit for it and let it flow however it flows out of you. If people are offended, that's on them. That's their perception. They've been conditioned to think that you're supposed to talk a certain way, that you're supposed to believe in certain things. That's their conditioning. Don't change to try to accommodate to them, because when you become an empty vessel and you're like ready for real knowledge and wisdom from the universe and nature, it doesn't even matter how the message comes. You're not going to be listening to the messenger. You're not going to be like, damn, like, you're not going to be focused on that. You're going to listen to the message, and you're going to try to embody that and use that regardless of how it's flowing out of that messenger. So let go of all the attachments that you have and learn to just embrace and become an empty vessel and be filled with that divine knowledge by letting go of the attachments, and just be conscious of that, and day by day try to let go of something, something that doesn't serve you. If it's not a tool for your progression, just let it go. And that's how you're gonna build up and become the person that you want to be. And it's gonna make the journey more expedient. It's gonna make you get there faster, because attachments are really just like weights weighing you down, and that's gonna propel you forward and let you be able to get to your destination faster and with more with more aggressiveness, and just push through all the bullshit and leave it behind, and just reach the top of that mountain or get to wherever you want to be. All right, see you. Peace out later. Divine Reflections.